There is some form of social hierarchy in most species across the animal kingdom, particularly the species that live in groups where individuals rely on each other for survival. This means that humans are not the only ones who have systems for evaluating and delegating power among themselves. It seems all social creatures have developed some way of defining how much influence over the community is placed in the hands of particular members. We as humans have elected officials. We have celebrities and cultural icons. We even have people we know locally or personally we look to for some form of direction, like the head of our family systems or the usual decision makers in our friend groups. These are all positions of notable power that we've socially agreed to bestow on certain individuals, whether through formal laws or invisible social norms. Animals don't vote or read Hollywood magazines, but they do still bestow similar positions of power and influence on individual members of their groups. The most powerful of them is typically referred to as the alpha. Even though their systems can seem so rudimentary or barbaric, there's a lot we can learn about ourselves through what we see in the social structures of animals, especially when we look at animals very closely related to humans like chimpanzees and bonobos. There's a huge misconception about the alphas of the animal kingdom. We usually expect them to be whichever member of the animal group is the biggest and the strongest, the most successful in violently intimidating the others into submission. Through this exaggerated lens, the most powerful individuals hold their positions purely because they've exploited the fear and the weakness of the others. They have influence over all the other members of the group simply because no one is willing or able to voice their disagreement. But this depiction does not match what scientists observe in our closest animal relatives, chimpanzees and bonobos. Physical strength and size have their roles to play in determining social hierarchy, but the primate alpha is typically someone the members of the group feels they can trust and depend on. The alpha's greatest ability, the thing that qualifies them most for being the most influential member of the pack, is their affinity for empathy. The most powerful members of every group are the individuals who consistently help those in need. They're the individuals others know they can turn to when they're in a difficult situation. These individuals break up fights in the pack and take care of the wounded and the suffering. It doesn't sound very animalistic of them, but the most influential members of primate groups are allowed the power they have voluntarily by way of respect and high regard by other members, because those other members want power to be in the hands of those who will best serve the community. In our human social structures, very similar principles apply. There's much to be debated about the true character of those who hold political power in our societies, but generally, it's usually true that elected officials get those positions by being liked. George W. Bush was known to his voters as the guy they could enjoy grabbing a beer with if they had the chance. Barack Obama ran his campaign on hope and change, speaking directly to those who felt beaten up or left out by modern economic and political events. The people we feel most comfortable giving literal power to are those we would like to think are, quote, good people, individuals who would use that power with empathy. And we allow all kinds of other different positions of influence to people for the very same reason. The more we can perceive that someone is very good at listening and caring about the needs and experiences of someone else, the more we're willing to give that person trust and the power to influence us in some way. We're more willing to take their advice. We're more willing to borrow their ideas and perspectives on things. It's no coincidence that many celebrities and cultural icons are also philanthropists, people who try to do things that are for the greater good. There is so much power in empathy, and we all might not regularly recognize it. It's not the power to control or make laws. but it's still the power to make changes to someone else's life in big and small ways. We don't need other people to fear us or to respect our degrees or admire our accomplishments in order for them to value us or our perspectives. The best thing we can do is show them we have the ability to care unconditionally and that we're willing to put our words and actions behind them.